Welcome everyone back to Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross, where we are your resource for education, connection, and collaboration to support you on your wellness journey. And I would like to start by thanking my sponsors, Jonathan, I'm probably Arevalo. I will have him correct me as soon as we get on. Anyway, White Sands Premier Travel, BAM Metrics, and Vibe. First, these sponsored appearances that makes Mindful Mondays possible. And Jonathan, first of all, apologize for slaughtering your last name. But I want to let everybody know today we have our extraordinary guest, Jonathan, that is here with us today. He has beaten the odds and has survived a stroke at the age of 35. He is truly a testament to resilience and the human spirit. And I am so glad to have you here today with us, Jonathan, to share your journey. And I know you're doing great work as an advocate. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for inviting me. And about myself, it's been 4 years since I've had my stroke, since January 1st, 2021, during COVID. And it's been a big challenge. And not only has it been a big challenge, but it's been a journey that has taken quite a lot of effort to recover and to heal. So till this day, I'm still working on myself for recovery. So that way my brain can develop itself and heal a lot faster. But it still takes time. As anything else in life, it's always a process.
Yeah, and that is a very young age, and I've actually heard of some other people that are even younger that have, strokes or symptoms. Do you know what brought it on or what caused it?
Well, in the beginning, I wasn't sure the moment that I had my stroke, especially during COVID, since it was during that period of time. It was something that happened starting the new year, and I got rushed to the hospital. And the moment that that happened, I just completely didn't know what was happening to me. And it's difficult to really know exactly to like pinpoint what exactly caused it. But over time, it gave me the opportunity to kind of reflect and to look back of certain factors that could have caused it. I believe that stress was part of it, especially like whenever we go through challenging times.
Mhm.
Stress is a big factor that can affect us not just with our mind, but also our body and also our emotions. So that's like the full connection. What I believe stress is a big factor.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you because stress is normally at the root cause of everything. And we can never really get rid of all of the stress, but we can kind of learn how to adapt or maybe control it a little better or not get so stressed over things that we probably shouldn't be stressing over in the first place, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so it's been now 4 years. It's been 4 years and 3 months since my stroke. But it wasn't just a stroke. I had an aneurysm on the left side of my brain. So I wouldn't be here today. So it's actually a miracle to be here today for the fact that I have that second opportunity to live. And based on my faith in God, that gave me the opportunity to change my lifestyle and apply new things in my life where I can change the way I think, the way I talk, and the way I act. Because I think that every single time that we apply new things in our lives, it changes our lifestyle in many different ways. So that was part of the strength that I received through my faith
Hmm.
in God, and as well for the fact that I started to apply many things that I learned over the years and even till this day. So everything takes time. But the moment that we do apply things in our lives is what changes us. It changes us by many different ways. And that's how we get that second opportunity is through that love, through that grace, and through that mercy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm kind of glad you clarified that with the aneurysm because most people that I know of that have had like an aneurysm, it's very quick and sudden, and most people don't recover from that.
That's right. Most people don't recover. The doctors were surprised. They're like, Jonathan, you're young. How did you have a stroke and an aneurysm? You would have been dead.
Yeah,
As blood was flowing all over, and they couldn't understand how is that possible. So everything just started to, within that same day, it just started to work in the form kind of like a drainage, where
okay,
like a vacuum, where all that blood that was flowing all over the brain is started to just how do I describe it? Um, it started to kind of just like filter out somehow, where
okay.
it kind of stopped to kind of like damage my brain cells, my neurons, and all that stuff. So, so it's in reality, it is a miracle, just because there's no words to describe how it happened.
Right.
But I was affected though. I was affected physically. I was affected with memory, with cognitive, also with mobility. I was affected on my right side from arm to leg. And especially since I was affected on my left side. So usually the opposite gets affected. I was affected with vision. I was affected with a lot of sensitivity,
Hmm.
a lot of things that changed. So it's taken 4 years to recover. And what you see today is a huge recovery.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm sure you had to have some pretty good support systems in place. How did your family, your friends, and healthcare professionals play a role in your recovery journey?
Yes, a big support. So I had a big support with my parents, my older sister, um, a lot of family, and also people from the church, and a lot of prayer all over the world. That we had a lot of family and friends that would share my story of what I was going through, and just asking for that support through prayer. And just continuing having that faith and that belief and that hope that eventually something is going to change, something is going to work out better. But the only way that something like that happens is only if we learn to accept and to apply it in our lives, and little by little we put it into practice. That's how we get results, that's how we get change. Because we need to first learn to accept that anything that has happened to us, any setback or any changes, sometimes we don't understand why it happens, and sometimes we don't know why it happens. But even though we don't know the exact answer for everything in our lives, but we still have that chance and that hope, and we do get that second opportunity. So once we get that second opportunity, we just need to learn how to apply it in our lives. And little by little, that's how the changes happen in our mind, our body, and also our emotions. The full connection.
Yeah, full connection. And that's true. I mean, did you ever find yourself ever kind of spiraling, or did the support kind of help you from getting stuck in that I don't want to say pity mode because that's traumatic, but sometimes we get stuck in why me, why did this happen instead of what can I do to fix it?
Yes, definitely. You usually feel frustrated, you feel angry, you feel worried, upset, different emotions that you start to develop whenever something bad has happened, either to yourself or either a loved one. And whenever we go through all those emotional experiences and those traumas that we develop, it's hard to go through it. So the way that I was able to cope was through connecting with other people that were a form of support, such as my parents, my sister, and also other people with faith that were a form of support, that they would encourage me, they would listen to me, and they would also provide mentorship. So I find that whenever you connect yourself with the right people, that's the best way that you can grow and strengthen yourself and get that encouragement. And at the same time, I started to later on, after like maybe about 2 years, I joined in a nonprofit organization, and I started to look for support. And this nonprofit organization is called March of Dimes. And March of Dimes is really well known here in Canada, and I believe over there in the US too.
Yes, they are. Hmm.
Yeah, and they help support many people with disability and also other factors that a lot of people go through, a lot of challenges. And I reached out to them, and they were a great form of support for me during that early 2 years of stroke.
Nice. So is that kind of part of the advice of what you would give others that are seeking support for when they're trying to find what a supportive network they could have?
Yes, I believe so. I think it's so important to connect with community. It's so important to connect with family, friends, and also other mentors, people that are knowledgeable and people that have experienced a lot in life, that are able to connect with others that are going through the same stages in life, because it's so hard to understand someone unless you're actually going through it.
Right. Right. And I always tell people, I said, yeah, I don't even like to use the word understand. You might be able to relate, but unless you are that person, because we're all different individuals, we all have, different beliefs. So you can relate to it. You may not understand it because you're not in their skin. Right.
Exactly. That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
we all go through different things in our lives, and we all have different stages and different mindsets. And the fact that we have different mindsets sometimes is hard to connect and understand other people. But the moment that you do take the opportunity to learn and to grow, then you're able to, first of all, listen to them. Because I find that is so important to listen to someone. Because if you really don't know their story, how can you really help them out?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I couldn't agree more with you. And I think that's something we all kind of suffer from. We always get in such a hurry. We're waiting for someone to stop talking. You just talk and you didn't truly listen to what they said. And it's kind of, you just need to slow down. And like you said, listen to what they're saying.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's exactly right. I've joined other nonprofit organizations where, after by like the second to third year of my stroke, I ended up volunteering afterwards, and through volunteering, it ended up helping me a lot, because I started to serve the community within all of Canada, where it was other nonprofit organizations. There was another one called Heart and Stroke that I started to volunteer, and I still do.
Hmm.
And I also signed up to volunteer in the community for mental health for young people, whether they're from the ages of 12 to the ages of 26. And those nonprofit organizations are different in accordance to my stroke, but it was something that I had a lot of interest, because I find it that whenever you go through stroke, and it also connects to your emotions, you start to realize that mental health takes part of it. There's something that you go through it, such as trauma, anxiety, even depression. All of those things is a form of mental health. And those are things that sometimes we don't really know how we develop it, or how to work on those areas that we need that recovery and that healing. But the moment that we educate ourselves and the moment that we change our lifestyle, that's the only way that we can actually tackle those challenges but at the same time connecting with the community and other people that are professionals or educated in those areas in that field. So I decided to volunteer in those areas still as a stroke survivor, and I still volunteer because I find it that whenever you serve others, you also receive.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, so the physical and occupational therapy aspect, what specific types of therapies have you pursued since your stroke? And how have they helped you regain your motor skills and your independence?
Yes. Well, for therapy in the beginning, it took some time the moment that I got out of the hospital after a full week being in the hospital. I didn't go back home where I was living in the city. So I ended up moving back with my parents for them to be my caregivers. So ever since, for the 4 years, my parents have been caregivers till this day.
Mhm.
Since right now I'm still currently on long term disability. And for therapy, I ended up, especially since it was during COVID, it was very hard to kind of get the therapy that I actually needed. It took some time. So after a few months, I started to get therapy with a speech pathologist, an occupational therapist, physiotherapy, a social worker, a nutritionist, and a few other things that I had to reach out to receive support. And all of this, since it was done during COVID, I had to do this virtually.
Right.
Even though it was very challenging for me, virtually, I had to try to follow the steps of speech, of memory, of cognitive understanding, and also movement. I had to do certain exercises that were very challenging and very difficult. But later on, I did have at home support where virtually ended up becoming in person at home. So I received that for a good 7 months. And then I continued doing it all the way till this day. I still do it by myself. I still carry those exercises in all those areas.
Nice. Yeah, it's one of those things so it's in a sense you're kind of rebuilding, right? All over. The stuff that we had learned from a kid, you go to adult, but then when this happens, it's almost like starting over, I would imagine, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, everything is a process. And till this day, I still continue that process when it comes to speech, memory, cognitive, even improving my when it comes to sensitivity, since my vision, it wasn't as well, it was always 24%, but it got reduced because of the stroke.
Mhm.
And so I wear glasses when it comes to reading or looking at a computer screen or the TV for long periods of times. I have that sensitivity. Even like the sound, whenever it's loud noise, I have to be far away just because it affects my sensitivity with the sound.
Wow.
Also, tiredness. Sometimes you still feel fatigue, very tired. So, all of that has to do with things that cause stroke. And sometimes a lot of people don't understand what stroke is. But the moment that you do understand, there's a lot of things that have affected the brain. That's why the brain is like a computer. It's so important that we need to take care of our brains.
Yes, we do. And
Yeah.
maybe you can explain to them a little bit then about what a stroke is.
Yes. A stroke is something that affects you in different ways. So it affects you where there's two different types of strokes. There's 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 the ischemic stroke, which is caused by blood clots, and those blood clots, when it goes to your brain, it could cause a blockage. where there's no circulation of brain. I mean, sorry, of blood.
Hmm.
So our blood is so important that our blood needs to flow.
Right.
It needs to flow all over our body, which our heart pumps out all over. And if it doesn't do that, we don't have oxygen, nutrients, minerals, everything. So that way we have life. So blood is life.
Absolutely.
And so that's the ischemic type of stroke through blood clots, and that causes a stroke. And then the other type is the one that I had, which is a hemorrhagic stroke, which means that it was a rupture of a specific vein, which the doctors ended up analyzing, and they found it and described it as an AVM, which is called anterior venous malformation, which the doctors believe that it was something caused either from childbirth, either a defect where one specific vein that was very weak on the left side of the brain ruptured.
Hmm.
So that is hemorrhagic stroke, and that causes bleeding, which could cause the same way as an aneurysm, which could kill anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely. Well, I know you're going to be able to tell us what therapies you found more effective, but right now we need to take a quick break from our sponsors and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Bobby Aldridge with BAM Metrics. There are so many programs out there that measure your swing speed, sets, reps, your BMI, your body fat, but the one thing they're not measuring that's so essential is mobility. Mobility is the key. If you're measuring your mobility, your performance will get better and you will reduce your pain. I created BAM Metrics to make it easy for people to repeat the exercises so they could do it properly at home on their own. It's simple, it's easy to do, and from a senior to a pro athlete.
Relief for PTSD, anxiety, pain, insomnia, and many other ailments. Introducing Vibe, the world's only pocket PEMF device. You place in your pocket while cooking, cleaning, relaxing, watching TV, sitting at your computer, reading, or walking. Self-contained standalone device. No drugs. No other phone or Bluetooth connections required. No monthly subscription fees. No apps to download. No Bozone. The future of medicine is in the frequencies. Come join the revolution.
So, Jonathan, in your experience, what therapies or practices did you find most beneficial for your recovery, and why?
Yes, the different therapies that I took throughout my whole journey, these 4 years, have been a lot of active through doing exercises, and at the same time nutrition, which is very important because I always find that the best medicine is what we eat. And also, I also found that cognitive therapy helped a lot when it came to improving my memory, understanding. And at the end, I just had to apply all of these different skills into my life. And I still do. And the way I do it is also by going to the library and I read a lot of books because I always find it that the more knowledge you gain, the more stronger you become in all areas. So over these 4 years, and I still continue. I go to the library, I grab a different book, and I always learn something new, because it's so important that the moment that we learn something new, it just strengthens us, giving us more knowledge, more ability, and more confidence. And we need that each day.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what exactly is cognitive therapy for those that don't know?
Yes. So for cognitive therapy, I was doing that virtually for about a year. And I do different exercises when it comes to do with numbers, names, patterns, symbols, uh, and also clocks. So all of that helps to develop the areas that were affected when it comes to understanding, or when it comes to even speech,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And at the same time, it helps our memory, because over time, even as we age, our memory starts to decline because it's not active. So the moment that we keep our mind active by doing different exercise, it helps our mind, our memory, to get stronger and better.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always loved those kinds of things, and I know they've said that for people that are aging, to keep working on crosswords puzzles or puzzles to make your mind, to keep thinking and kind of to keep it sharp. So I would imagine it's very similar.
Yes, exactly. Through puzzles, through through like different other exercises that is either numerical or either was called shapes. All of that is what helps our brain. And the moment that we continue doing that, it helps keep our brain sharp, active, and alert.
Yeah. Now you mentioned nutrition too. So how has your nutrition changed since post stroke?
Yes. So I had to change everything. And the reason why it helped me recover a lot was my nutrition. I had to change it completely, like what I eat and what I drink. So when it came to drinking, it was specifically drinking just water and tea. I had to cut everything with sugar, and I had to cut everything, um, anything that just wasn't good for me. And also, when it came to nutrition, I focused on fruits and vegetables, and also lean meats. So a lot of like salmon to get your omega 3s, and also other fish that are very good for you. As well, when it came to red meat, I had to reduce it. So I would have like maybe twice a month, and not as often. And also the same thing with chicken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what lifestyle changes then did you make, or strategies do you do that you practice to prevent from having another stroke?
Exercise. So exercise has been part of my routine, because whenever we exercise, we strengthen ourselves, we stay active, we stay motivated, and it also helps to reduce our stress, our anxiety. And at the same time, it helps to just strengthen the areas that we have challenges and difficulties. Any area that was affected by stroke, I had to continuously till this day work on strengthening my muscles, and also movements on every single area that I had difficulty. So I had to continue continuously. So it's pretty much developing perseverance, dedication. That's the key. That's the key answer for many, many things, is creating that dedication and persistence.
So, do you have a routine then, and what does that look like for you?
Yes, as a routine, I exercise about 2 to 3 times a week, And when it comes to nutrition, I always drink water and tea every day. And when it comes what I eat, it's always fruits and vegetables and a lot of protein, but either protein that is either as a shake, but it's more like a combination of like fruits and vegetables, and
Okay.
and at the same time, like based on what I eat too. So not just like a shake, but also uh, solid food. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of protein depending on the kind of vegetables and different things that you do as well. And so, how do you deal with monitoring your health? Do you often engage with healthcare professionals for monitoring, or do you watch out for certain key indicators? How do you focus on that?
Yes, yes. So I still stay in contact with family doctor, neurologist, and surgeons, and also other specialists related with stroke. So on a yearly basis, I also always do a general checkup, and I also go every year for an MRI. So every year that I go for an MRI is to detect to see how my brain is healing from the AVM, because from the initial stroke, 3 months later, I had another surgery, and the surgery that I chose to have is called radio gamma knife on the left side. And I chose to do that with technology where they use radiation, where the AVM that ruptured based on the aneurysm and stroke,
Mhm.
uh, radio gamma knife is a form of surgery that it's painful, but at the same time is very effective because they use radiation. And with radiation, what it does, it minimizes over time to shut off completely that vein that was weak and ruptured. So throughout the 4 years, it's been reducing so much that it's almost completely gone. So that way
Wow.
it never ruptures again.
So, in a sense, you've almost kind of like erased that vein, or you're erasing it, basically.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Can you feel that?
You can't feel it. No.
I was just curious. So some people are very in tune and sensitive, but I'm like, that just, yeah, I was just
No,
wondering if you,
no, you can't feel it because it's internal in your brain.
Mhm. Right.
And at the same time, but what I do feel is a lot of headaches, a lot of tension and pressure. But that has to do because of stroke.
Okay.
Anyone that has gone through stroke or either a brain injury, it affects your brain because your brain is not fully healed, and at the same time, it's not in its normal state. The moment that a brain has been damaged, it's been affected in many ways because it starts to kill and destroy all of your neurons
Mhm.
and a lot of other connections, because your brain connects, sends signals and makes connections with every part of your body. That's why it's so important to keep your brain healthy and strong, because it sends signal to lift up my hand, to speak, to see, to walk, to talk, anything. Our brain tells us what to do. If our brain is healthy and sharp, it's active, it lives long. Our body lives long. But if our brain is not healthy, your body shuts down. It doesn't function.
So do you think there'll ever be a time where you won't have to worry about it, or is this just something you're going to have to monitor the rest of your life?
You're still going to monitor any person that has gone through either stroke or either heart attack or either cancer or any other factor, even mental health. It's something that you have to continue being persistent, and you have to continue carrying that dedication when it comes to change
Hmm.
for the better. Because if we don't change for the better, then we always end up falling back to our old self, our old lifestyle, our old habits. So the only way that you're able to break those bad habits is by developing a good habit. And that good habit will help you maintain yourself. mentally, physically, and emotionally. So it's something that you have to continue on a daily basis till the end.
Yeah. I would imagine this was pretty life-changing for you. How has it changed your perspective on life? Or
It's
has it?
it has changed a lot in my life because first of all, I'm very thankful, and I'm very thankful because I believe that God gave me that second opportunity to live, because if I didn't have that faith, I wouldn't be here. And if I didn't change my lifestyle, my old self, because I did live a life that was a lot different that I haven't really shared. But my life as a young person, sometimes you grow up having a lot of curiosity. You grow up with a lot of curiosity and trying new things and things that are maybe not the best thing for you, but because you're curious, you start to do things that at the end causes damage to you mentally and physically and emotionally.
Right.
But you don't realize it until you've already gone through it. Sometimes we have to go through that. And we have to go through those different challenges because that's what develops our character. Is what develops of who we are through our own personal experiences. So I had to go through my personal experiences that weren't not everything perfect and not everything the best. Why? Because in life, there's no one that is perfect, not a single person, because we always learn from our mistakes, or at least we try to.
I was to say, at least we try to, yeah.
We try to, right?
Right.
Because it's not easy to learn completely and fully change. So we have to go through that process and that journey. And that's what I'm doing. And it's helped me to build my character, to change the way I think, the way I talk, and the way I act. That's why to this day, I still volunteer, and I volunteer in 3 nonprofit organizations related with stroke, related with heart attacks, and related with mental health. And my desire now is to help a lot of people. I want to help a lot of people because that has changed my life by having that second opportunity to live and to be here today.
Yeah, and basically kind of paying it forward from all the support and stuff that you got, which was going to be my next question for advocacy and awareness. How are you using your experience to raise that awareness and prevent stroke prevention and recovery in the community?
Yes. The way I help through the community, within the family, within friends, and even strangers, I've changed everything in my life by serving others and by being a difference, by showing that love, by showing that compassion, and by showing that desire to make a difference. And the only way that can actually happen is until we take a step forward and put it into action. So I do it by going to fundraisers. I also do it by my volunteering. And I also do it in everywhere I go. Anytime that I have the opportunity to speak to someone, I just ask them questions. I listen to them and I show them that love and compassion. And then I share with them my story. And the reason why I do that, because sometimes you really don't know what someone's going through. And and everyone goes through different stages of life. But whenever you kind of put yourself in someone else's shoe in a different way by trying to understand them and by trying to connect with others that seem like they need help, either through their facial expression, either through their gestures, their actions, their behavior. Many times, sometimes you can detect or even have certain feelings, but not always. But when you can, those are things that can prompt you to connect with someone and try to help them out. And that's what I do. And I do that every day. And that's why I've been now trying to create a new platform where I do it for myself and for others, where I want to create a business where I can help people in all those areas related with stroke, disability, and also mental health.
Yeah. And those platforms, I believe they're the ones we've been sharing throughout the interview here, your YouTube and your Instagram. And I saw your YouTube the other day, and didn't get to see a lot of them. But one of the therapies that you didn't mention, but I found ironic because I've had other people there that use art for therapy, but you had a video about art therapy.
Yes. So myself, well, since my story is long and complicated, I've been through a lot, not just with stroke, the challenges, but also a year and a half later, my dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And it was about 2.5 years afterwards that my dad had the opportunity to still live and be with us. During the time that I had my stroke and everything as well. So a
Mhm.
lot of challenges going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And I lost my dad now. It's been 10 years now. And my dad was my best friend. And not only was he my best friend, but he was always the one motivating me, encouraging me, and showing me that love and support. And that's where I had that encouragement to recover and to heal.
Yeah.
And till this day is what I'm doing for many people, from many young people to from the ages of 20 to the ages of 80 years old. I'm helping all across Canada. And and I do it with that compassion, that love to show to others, volunteering till this day.
Yeah.
So it's not easy when you go through a lot, but at the same time, when you lose someone that you love very much, it's hard.
Well, I would have to say I know your father would be very proud of the work you're doing and what you're coming through. And I can feel your pain. I lost my father 2 years ago, and I lost my husband at the age of 36 to an aortic aneurysm / heart attack. He was 36. So I'm super excited for you that you have been able to come through this and do so much good and help others, because yeah, no one should be going through that at that young age or even younger. So you're doing amazing, and I want to thank you too for taking the time and sharing all of this with us. But I know it's not easy, especially when life keeps throwing stuff at you, but you're doing very well.
Yeah, thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
uh, what you were telling me about the other therapy, it's art therapy. The
Hmm.
art therapy that I joined is for grief support. So art therapy helps for grief support, and it's something that helps out. It's kind of taking you into getting yourself in a different environment that helps you share your story. It helps you to connect with other people that are going through the same grief, and that's why I ended up taking art therapy. Yes.
It's something I probably should look at myself. I never even knew about it until I started doing this show and I started meeting people, and that started coming up. And I guess just because you get the chance to express yourself and put it out, but maybe you can't find it in words, but you can draw it, right?
Exactly. Sometimes it's hard for people to express it through words. So instead, through drawing, you can express your feelings, your emotions through art, or even through building things or sculptures or anything that is creative. Because each one of us, we all carry a gift. and a
Mhm.
purpose. And the fact that we carry a gift and a purpose on this earth, we need to use it. We need to embrace it. Because if we don't use our gifts and our talents, then we still kind of have a hard time to determine our own personal identity. But once we do find an identity within us and we apply it, then that's how we find a purpose on this earth. And that purpose on this earth is greater than what we think. But we need to first figure ourselves out. And once we figure ourselves out, then we have to heal ourselves, the inside, before we can help others as well.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, what message would you like to convey about supporting stroke research or advocating for better healthcare services for survivors?
Yes, well, I encourage everybody to continue staying strong, to continue being hopeful, and at the same time connect with people that have either similar or either challenges that can help one another. And I believe that connecting with the community is so important because community is what strengthens a lot of people, because we do live in a time where there's a lot of division. And whenever there's a lot of division within family, within community, within society, it doesn't help nobody recover or heal. But the moment that we are united and the moment that we help one another, there is recovery and healing.
Yes. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. That's why I like building these. I think we need more community. You're right. There's absolutely way too much division and labels and blaming and everything else we got going on. But when you find your tribe and your supportive community, it makes a world of difference. So we have a few minutes left, Jonathan. What do you want to leave the audience with today?
Yes. Well, I'm grateful to be here today. It's my first time being in this live interview. And I'm very happy to be here because I'm able to share this story that can impact anyone's life that is going through either stroke, disability, or mental health. And I wanted to just share my story. I wanted to give that support and that love to show to others that are going through these similar challenging times, and that there is an opportunity, and there's I don't know what else to say, but
You're living proof there's light at the end of the tunnel.
yeah, that's right. I'm the living proof that that I'm still alive, and that all it really takes is us. It's us to change ourselves, change our lives. Because the moment that we change our lives is the moments that we make a difference, not only within ourselves, but also within the lives of others through your actions. We need to take action. If we don't take action, there's no difference. There's no change. So that's what I can encourage everybody, that to take action.
Yes, absolutely. And I think you are doing amazing, Jonathan, and I want to thank you. So the best place for people to connect with you is on your Instagram, correct? Or your YouTube channel.
Yes, yes. Anyone can find me on YouTube and also on Instagram, which is called project.20.1 and also project 21.
Yep. Or we made it easier for you. You got a QR code. They can just scan it. But I really want to do thank you, because it takes a lot of courage to be able to share all that. And you have been through so much. And obviously, I can tell it really makes you happy to help make a difference and to reach out to others that have been struggling with that, or maybe they've experienced that, or they know someone that's experienced with it. So thank you very much for sharing all of those resources and your journey with us. I greatly appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, Laura.
Yes, absolutely. So if anyone, if you are struggling with any of these things that we've been talking about, obviously you can see how passionate Jonathan is. Reach out to him, connect with him on Instagram or follow him on YouTube. Help him build his channel and help him get that word out there, because together we can do more. So thank you, everyone, and we will catch you next time.